I'm sorry?
My wife has a weakness for that Fiesta.
But that's a Fiesta mug. So.
She usually at least goes for the second. She gets my first quality.
Well, you know, I have some nice china at the house, and why get involved in this? Because some of it is expensive. I've got what I want at the house, you know, so.
You think?
I'm as bad as Carolyn. I love this. You get a big old cigarette.
Give you one? And I'm sorry they got 2009 on it, but I didn't realize it until last night I was putting it together. And I wanted to pass these around to show the people. This is made out of currency, and of course the pen is made out of corn, and it's completely biodegradable. So y'all want to pass these around and look at it? And this is what? Currency, dollar bill. And this is basically.
Gosh, I would have just spent it all.
That's basically what we show the kids when we go to the schools, and I show them the different things of what they're made out of. First of all, I would like to thank you for putting me on the board of directors at McCorkle Community Center, and I will try to do my best. And I didn't see it. Alan saw it in the paper and showed it to me. He said, "Oh, you got your appointment." I said, "I did." So I want to thank you for that. The West Virginia Association of Solid Waste Authorities held their 2010 educational conference at Stonewall Resort on November 7th and 8th. Those attending were Maureen Haldren, Tom Bowen, Helen, and myself. The winners for the REAP West Virginia Make It Shine Clean County Awards were: first place was McDowell County, second place was Webster County, and third place was Lincoln County. So Maureen has got that, it's just a little small one this time for third place, you know. But she has got that, and I don't know what she's going to do with it. The e-cycling ban goes into effect on January the 1st, 2011. There will not be an extension on that date, and they stated absolutely positively no extension, so that means all electronics will have to be disposed of properly. Of course, y'all are aware of that already. Presentation was made by Mr. Jocks Lord from California. His job is in the energy efficiency field. A few years ago, about 6 years ago, when they had all the wildfires in California and destroyed hundreds of thousands of homes, his was one of them. And he decided to build an energy efficient home since that was his profession. It took him 3 years to build it. The fees alone were over $4,000. He started out with a rectangle box, and I was hoping I could have the demonstration here, but I didn't get the stuff. But it was a huge blue rectangle box. He said this thing sat in the neighborhood, and it was an eyesore for months and months. But they, you know, put walls on it. Anyway, it was covered with blue plastic. It had metal studs, extra insulation, and solar shingles on the roof. The solar shingles went the outside edge of the house. It really was different looking to see that. This process stops termites, won't rot, and lasts almost indefinitely. He had a water system installed underneath his driveway that was designed to catch the rain runoff. In order to get the proper tax credit, he had to have a receipt for every single item he spent on that house. He said he oversaw the construction of it personally. 5 contractors walked off the job. They said they could not build the house. It wasn't because they didn't, it was because they didn't know how to build an energy efficient home. Mr. Lord has a setup with a power company that although he gets a power bill monthly, payment is only made once a year. Some months he owes them, some months they owe him. He said most of the time the power company has to pay him at the end of the year. He went on to give some litter information that his group made on a survey of county, city, rural, and state roads. Of the litter collected, cigarette butts was #1 at 36.3%. Fast food paper was 11.8%. From 1968 to 2008, plastic litter jumped 165.4%. There are 11 million Adopt-A-Highway volunteers. The annual dollar value of volunteers and time spent to clean up statewide is $234.5 million. So being a volunteer, we save our government a lot of money. The annual cost of cleanup nationwide is $11.5 billion. That's a B, billion. I can't even imagine one much. I'd like to recommend that Thomas go to the conference this year because his generation of young people is how this litter control can get turned around. When our age group, when we were young, we never heard the word recycle. Everything just went in the trash. But now as we're older, we realize, you know, we should have been taught that, but it just wasn't there. A few years back, Howland stated that he wanted Lincoln County to be known as the cleanest county because Eleanor boasts, and I said that here at the meeting, Eleanor boasts as being the cleanest city. And we have done that. We have made Lincoln County one of the cleanest counties. In 55, I think we've done pretty good. And I hope once again, maybe next year or whatever, we can bring home the first prize again. But I think third prize in 55 counties is really good.
Well, no doubt, and we certainly share Alan's goal to make it the cleanest, because nothing could be any better than having the reputation of it. It not only looks clean, but it is clean.
Well, I realized last night putting all this together that we moved out there in 1994, and one of the comments I made when we were driving from 119 to our property, I told him, I says, you know, I'm almost ashamed to tell anybody where we live because going that stretch of road, that 3 miles of road, there was trash everywhere. And then shortly after that, in the spring in 95, that's when he got out there and started cleaning up along the road so that it would look nice coming to our house. And I thought, wow, it's been, what, almost 20 years, you know, yeah. So, you know, it's been a while that we've been doing this, 15 years. So I think in the short period of time we've been doing this, I think we've certainly accomplished a lot.
Well, and I think what you know, you guys are doing and what G does with this educational thing.
Right.
These young kids, like you talked about, and people in the senior status area, you know, it's a different thought process how we're brought up anyway.
Exactly.
To what these young people, and I think we need to just keep pushing the educational part of it.
Now
I really thought I was doing good if we just got the trash and put it in a bag.
Yeah.
Instead of burning it or whatever, just so we could get it cleaned up.
Yeah.
But didn't even think about the recycling.
No, we certainly didn't. That just wasn't in our vocabulary. They did not have any kind of, showed any projects to show the kids this year. That was lacking in their conference. I did take those, that bottle cap art up there and try to ask for a table. I think Lincoln County was one of the only ones up there that asked for a table, and I had a big display up there with Lincoln County on it. Got quite a few positive remarks on that. There is a gentleman around that I'll have to have this back. It's the only one I got. His name is Kirby. And the little guy is taller than I am. And he's, I think, from Raleigh County. And he has a remote control. He stands behind it, and this little guy goes around and talks and everything. So I went up and asked him, and I said, y'all go to other schools outside of your area? And he said, oh, yeah, sure. I said, would you come to Lincoln County? He said, I'd be glad to. I said, you charge us? He said, oh, no. He said, I go into schools and I teach the kids about recycling. That's the only card I had. But anyway, he said, so I told him, I said, well, I'd like to have you to come to Lincoln County. And he said, well, I'll be glad to do that. So I just have to make up a time when it's okay with the school. And Maureen says she'd like to have it over at Hamlin High School. But he said that for me to call him anytime, and he'll be glad to bring the little guy over, and we'll take him through the school. But
and you know, Doris, I'd be happy to go next year with you.
I'm sorry?
I'd be happy to attend next year's conference with you.
Oh, okay.
So
I think with, like I say, with your age generation and what we've done so far, I think it's going to take your age group and younger to get this whole thing turned around and get it going really good, because we have to recycle, because all the electronics, they're forcing that, and it has to be done.
You know, and even with the younger generations, I think there's a disconnect. And what I mean by that is the younger people continually are told that they live in a global society and they're becoming more and more disconnected from the places they live.
Right.
And I think that what they need to realize, you do live in a global society and you do compete with people all over the world.
Right.
But the only place that you can make a difference in the world is where you stand. And if you don't take pride in the place you come from, you're not going to be able to make a positive impact for those people around you. So any way I could be involved with the group, go to the conferences, I'd be happy.
I appreciate that, and we've seen a difference just going to the schools. I mean, these kids, when you stayed up and talked to them about recycling, let me tell you something, they're blabbermouths. I mean, they tell you what their parents do and everything else, you know. So, and they're really interested in it. We went to Bridgeview last week. They had, it was pepperoni day. And my little great-granddaughter was over there, and parents can come. So we went over there. We had lunch with my great-granddaughter, and just a little thing. She's in first grade. And this little kid was in front of her, and she looked up at him, and she said, "I know who you are." And he says, "You do?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "You're the trash man, aren't you?" And he says, "Yeah, I certainly am." So, you know, it makes an impression on these kids. But I do think that it'd be to the county's benefit and to your benefit if you go up and see the conference, because they have a tremendous amount of speakers. Mark Manchin was there. This gentleman from California was there. Quite a few of them. And they give you some really good information, you know, that you can bring back with you. But I really enjoyed going up there, and I appreciate them paying my way to go, you know. But
We appreciate that too, otherwise we might have to do that.
Yeah, you might have to.
Next thing on the agenda is Hearts Community Center.
Of course, as we know, we've had the Hearts Center out there for a number of years, and it's really working well, and we're just looking at it from two different points of view. One is, as the new Hearts school opens, we've had some discussions with the school board about the county commission taking over the Hearts Middle School and becoming owners of that property, at least the part where the building sits. I think the ball field, the school will be using that. But with that in mind, one of the things we've talked about is trying to figure out how we may want to do that in order to make it work, make it a benefit to the community. And one of the things that I think will need to be looked into will be how we might be able to maybe take some of that building and make it in maybe to apartments for needy seniors, that kind of thing. So we probably will need to, but once we meet and talk with the school board and see if that's the direction they still plan to go, we probably need to look at consulting with someone about trying to figure out what the needs might be out there and how we might be able to find some money to make those rooms into apartments or whatever we would not be using. So, and the other part of it is the government part of it has been real successful. You know, we tried it at the library at Allen Creek. It just didn't seem to have any interest much at all. But out at Hearts, it's been really beneficial. And what we would like to look at with the board out there at this juncture would be to think about maybe transferring one of our employees out there on a regular basis rather than having one day a month, but have somebody out there every day. If they could be multi-task where they could look at the tax records, look at the any records out of Donald's office, including voter registration on a regular basis, actually the sheriff's office paying taxes. So I think we just need to look at that and see if there's some way we might be able to do that.
One quick note. At the Old Hearts High School complex, there's an annex building, and then there's a building